Welcome to the Mindset Architect podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with Rethink Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect podcast, episode number 47. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at Rethink Coaching. As always, just want to thank you for sharing your time with me. Time truly is our most valuable gift and asset, and I truly appreciate you sharing your time with me today. So I want to jump in on today's topic or topics. And, as always, I look at what's happening with my private coaching clients. I look at what's happening with conversation I have with thought leaders across the country and with business executives, entrepreneurs. And I think we're at a time of the year. So it's July-ish here. And I think we're at a time of year that might be causing some questions or frustrations for a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, business strategists, because we're in a time of evaluating where we are mid-year. We're really well into the second half of the year, evaluating where we are versus where we said we were going to be, and analyzing the gap that we may have between actual and goal. And this is where things get dangerous. And so this is why I really want to have this conversation today. So I'm talking to you if you're behind in your goal. Sometimes when that happens, there is a tendency to take your foot off the gas and say, you know what, I'm so far off a goal, or I'm not anywhere near where I thought it was going to be. I'm just going to take my foot off the gas, let up on some of the pressure that I'm creating for myself, and just do things that I know will work, that are comfortable and easy, because I've now changed my focus maybe from the goal I set to reevaluating. And I hear this a bit, I'm at least trending to where I was last year. So at least my business hasn't gone backwards. And I have to ask you this question. If you were here last year and you set a goal to be here, so let's just say you were 30 million in sales volume and you set a goal of 35 million this year, and you set that goal and that's impacting your future self. If you have readjusted that goal back down, don't look at it that your business hasn't gone backwards, because guess what? It really has, because it's gone backwards from where you intended it to be. Selling yourself on the thought that, hey, at least I'm doing what I did last year and that's okay, is really selling yourself short. So I want you to think about that. We're at the time of year where there's some question and there's a risk of taking your foot off the gas and getting out of motion. And, there's a saying, right? A body in motion stays in motion. And you look at individuals as they age who have stayed in motion, have stayed active, they are in motion still in their older age. It's the same thing with business. A business in motion is going to stay in motion. And businesses that get out of motion, that take their foot off the gas, are at greatest risk of actually collapsing and falling apart. Because I always say this, right? We're either moving forward or we're sliding backwards. There's really no neutral. And so settling for what we did last year is really copping out on yourself and your goals. And it's really giving yourself permission to move backwards. It really is. So body in motion stays in motion, business in motion stays in motion. And here's the other thing I want you to think about, which may be a little mind-blowing, considering how we as entrepreneurs, business strategists, thought strategists, how we always create a business plan. I'm hoping you always create a business plan. And that business plan has strategies outlined on how you're going to get to your goal, right? We analyzed, we strategized, we took days to write this business plan, and we wrote the how on what we're going to do to get to this new goal. And the reality is, and this could blow your mind a little bit, is that sometimes the how that we wrote and thought was going to get us to that goal isn't the how, and that you actually might have to create the how on your way to the goal. And again, that may be a little counterintuitive to what we know. And so here's what I want to say. I've done this a million times. We've worked with thousands of clients across the country and in different countries where we've set a plan in motion, and we have forecasted to our best ability what we thought were going to be the best strategies on how to get us to goal. Now, I would love to say with a lot of arrogance that we are so flippin' smart that every time we did this, and if the client would have just done what the business plan said, we would have got to goal. That's truly not the reality. Sometimes the how shows up on a need to know basis. And that need to know happens through failure, happens through a little bit of trial and error. So I'm not saying ditch your business plan. I'm not saying all that work that you did in December or November or October, whenever you sat down and wrote your business plan for the following year, I'm hoping it was October. I'm not saying that you ditch that. That's not it. What I am saying is that how that you wrote may not be the how that you actually get to goal. And you may have to pivot. You may have to zigzag. You may have to really revisit that. But this is a test for you as to your commitment to getting to that new goal. So, I can relate to this as a business owner, right? I own a coaching company and we write amazing business plans. What we have done differently though, is we've reduced our business plans from, 10 pages to a page and a half, but we write these brilliant business plans with these great thought strategies on how we're going to get to goal. We do it too. I do it too. And get into it. And all of a sudden, those strategies are not getting us to goal. We end up at mid-year. Hopefully, you've checked in way sooner than this. But if not, we've ended up at mid-year and we're realizing that we're not at goal. We're not where we said we were going to be. And the how to get there just how we planned and strategized really wasn't how. And now the worst thing that we can hear as entrepreneurs, and the worst thing that I could hear as your coach, is I just didn't know how I was going to do it. So I've gone back to doing what I used to do because I know it works and I'll be okay if I just do what I did last year. That to me is putting up the flag and surrendering your future self and giving up. What I would like to have happen is what we do. We put it out there. So let's just say, as an example, we're launching a new group program and the value in the content is flippin' amazing. And that's not from arrogance, but we deliver at a high level. And we always deliver more value than what the client pays for, just because you don't go poor by over delivering. And I firmly believe that any of our clients deserve that. They deserve a really high level of content and value. So we know that the content of this program is just off the charts. And we have our strategy, we have our how on, what we're going to do to launch it, where we're going to get people to raise their hand, come to a free webinar, then sign up for the program. And when it falls flat on its face, we have a choice to make. We can just say, forget it, because that plan I had isn't working and I don't know how to make it work. So, maybe it wasn't as valuable as we thought. Maybe that strategy wasn't the strategy to use, but I'm going to go back to selling some of our old programs because I know how to do that. And if I can still keep those alive and keep people in that, I'll consider it a win. What we do is we keep going and massaging the message and the marketing and the approach to it until we find the strategy that wins, until we find the how that wins. And it's not until you get to your goal that you really know the true how. And I know this might just be like, what is he talking about? We're always supposed to have a plan. We're always supposed to have a strategy and it should work. That would be in a laboratory in a perfect little vacuum sealed world. But we live in the space of a lot of unknowns and a lot of things happening that we didn't have planned when we wrote our business plan. I mean, think about it. When we wrote our business plan for 2001, we didn't plan on September 11th happening. We didn't know that was going to happen. And that event was horrifically tragic and it caused our how to change. 2008, economic meltdown. Didn't have that planned in my business plan in 2007 when I wrote it. That impacted my how. Now, how I choose to react to that and to pivot is going to be the game changer to success. So here's what I'm going to ask. Have an honest conversation with yourself. A body in motion stays in motion. A business in motion stays in motion. Are you in motion in your business, or have you gotten a little timid about it, or overwhelmed or frustrated with it and you've backed off of the action because you don't know how you're going to get to goal if the strategies you had aren't working. I really do. I just want you to just take a moment and step back and ask and be honest with yourself. Where am I? Have I agreed to move backward from the original goal I set and fool myself into thinking that at least my business didn't move backwards if I do what I did last year? It did move backwards. So sit with that and have a very honest conversation with yourself and really check in with a couple of things. Did I give the strategies a fighting chance? Or about mid-February, did I just say, screw it, they're not working, so I'm not making money, so I'm just going to go back to doing what I know used to work, and because I got to make money, and we've given up or walked away from those strategies? Or did you not even really implement them? Because this is what's fascinating. When we write a business plan, that is the most positive energy we have because it's the fun part of it. We get to, talk about what we're going to have, right? What we're going to experience. All the great things are going to happen when we get to this goal. And then we actually have to be and do to get it started. Did you actually give it a fighting chance? Or did you write this brilliant business plan and default to your 92%? And what do I mean by that? 92% of what we do as human beings, which is who we are running businesses, 92% of what we do is conditioned habitual behavior. So what might have happened is you had this great plan, these great strategies, and as they started to fail, you defaulted back to your 92%. You defaulted back to what you've always done because there's some comfort in that, in knowing that I'm going to get a transaction, I'm going to be able to pay my mortgage. I'm going to get a transaction and the kids are going to have food. I'm going to get a transaction and I'm going to be able to pay for our great vacation, versus staying in that committed space of I'm going to zig and zag all the way till I get to goal. And then I'll look back and I know my true how. That's really how I got here. And that's, for some people, is challenging because it requires stamina. It requires having a belief in yourself, and it has to come from inside. I would love to say that a coach can make that happen for you. It's got to happen in partnership with the coach to help you see, but ultimately it's got to come from the inside out, that you've got to be willing to do what you need to do. You got to be willing to look at the failures and say, okay, that strategy didn't work. I'm going to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. It is truly what I do on the regular at Rethink Coaching. I keep marketing. I keep the message changing. I keep the problem that we solve changing until it strikes a chord and the buyer, the consumer, sees the value and they're willing to pay for the course. I wish I could say our strategies were so flipping brilliant that I just had to follow them. That's not the case. We're just more willing to be exposed and raw to get to goal, because what we do not do is give up on our goal. And I'm afraid that this is the time of year. Again, we're mid-year. We're a little past mid-year, really. We're mid-July-ish. I might be hearing this towards the end of July, but we're kind of mid-July, which is really second half of the year. And we may just be surrendering to, I can't get to goal, so I'm going to give up and do the minimum I need to get to what I did last year. I don't want that for you. I want you to have the moxie, have the stamina to face the failure and to just say, okay, that didn't work, next. Okay, that didn't work, next. Okay, part of that worked. I'm going to enhance it next. And you keep going until you figure out the how. And that, my friends, is why we sometimes will say the how will show up on a need to know basis. What you need to do is get into action. That's it, because that action is going to reveal your how. And once you reveal the how to get to this new goal, setting another goal or a bigger goal will help again, because you will have the how that you got to hear, and you may just have to enhance that a little to get to there. Or you may have to go through this process again and again and again. What I know to be true is every time that I have had to do this, or we have had to do this as a company, the how shows up a lot quicker, because of our tenacity and speed to respond. That's it. Kind of like a dog with a bone, team. Like when I have a goal and I believe in the goal and I know what the goal is going to do for me and my family, my future self, the coaches that rethink, the clients that trust us to coach them, my wealth and my ability to have financial freedom. When I have that, I am truly, I don't want to say obsessed because that's probably not the right word, but I am so committed to getting a goal that's not even funny. And so I just look at a failure as, well, that how didn't work. I got to try something different. That how didn't work. I'm going to try something different. That how kind of worked. Great. I'm going to take what kind of worked and do some other stuff with it. That worked. Boom. Now I know how, because I got to goal. I got people to enroll in a free webinar. I got people to enroll in Save a Seat in one of our programs. I got people to swipe their credit cards and pay for a group coaching or get into one-on-one coaching. Now that I've hit that goal, I can look back and analyze everything I did and come up with the true how. The how has now shown up on the need to know basis. And it is beautiful when that happens. So if you're a little behind, get real, get right, dust off your business plan, look at it, really ask yourself to be honest, did you give the strategies even a chance? If you did, and they just continued not to produce what you thought they were going to produce, take those and learn from them. And what could you do different, or what could you enhance it with? And you keep going at it, keep going at it, keep going at it until you have a win and a result. Because once you hit goal, you truly do know how you're going to get there. So do not succumb to the I don't know how. Don't worry about the how. Just stay in action, stay in motion. A business in motion stays in motion. Stay in motion with your activity, stay in motion with your beliefs, stay in motion holding the space to your goals. Keep doing things until you discover how, because now you got to goal and you've got the answers now. If you stop because the how that you wrote in your business plan didn't work, you're going to fail. You just are. It cannot be any more direct than that. So here's what I do not want you to take away from this, though. Well, screw it. I'm not going to write a business plan. I'm just going to keep trying a bunch of different things. No. As I said, as we've evolved, our business plan strategies are more in alignment with truly how we're going to get there. We've got to tweak, we've got to adjust, but that business plan does a couple things for us. It creates a path for the brain. The brain knows where we're headed. It's got a destination in mind. It's like I got in the car, put in the address that I'm going to my GPS. The brain now knows how I'm going to get there, and it's going to calculate ways to get there. All right. So it really does help calm the brain. In addition, it cracks open up the door to possibility, because I know where I'm headed and I know the impact that reaching that goal is going to have on myself, my family, and all of those around me, my business, my coaches, everybody. So do not ditch the business plan. Embrace the fact that your brilliant strategies that you wrote in October may not be working in June, July, or August. They may not. And if you hold on to them because you wrote that plan and by gosh, you spent a lot of time and effort and energy and hours putting those together, and you continue to hold on to that and it's not working, your how is not working. Pivot, adjust, come up, get to goal, and now you know the true how. So now when we go to write our next business plan, we got a really more realistic forecast of how we're going to get to that next goal. So as always, team, if you have a question or you are uncertain of something that I've talked about, because I'm really asking you to lean into faith that the how will show up when you get to goal, which may be different than anything you've ever experienced before, please reach out to me. Don't think, I think I kind of know what he said. I'm going to ditch the business plan and just keep trying a bunch of stuff till it works. That's not it. I would still stay focused on my 3 primary sources of business. I would just adjust what actions I'm going to take to get a result. So we don't ditch the business plan because the strategy, the how that we wrote in it isn't working. I really want to make sure you understand that. So if you're struggling with this, please reach out to me, tony@rethinkcoaching.com. Email me, ask for a link to my calendar. I'll send you one. You can book an hour-long call with me at no cost, and we'll sit down and we'll go through this, because I truly do want you to achieve the goal that you set for yourself back in October so that your future self can be achieved. If we miss it or we settle, we are moving backward. So if you've got questions, please reach out to me. Email, Tony M. Caliendo is Instagram. Find me on Facebook. Google me, for heaven's sake, and you'll find my cell phone number. There's a lot of ways to get a hold of me. I truly would like to help you This is a big shift in the way we think and a big shift for you to embrace the possibility of running at things a bunch of different directions while still staying in one container. And it can be done. Be happy to help you out. Again, you guys, thanks for being here. I truly, truly, truly appreciate you. This is something it took me a very long time to accept. I understood it. I refused to accept it because my ego got in the way. I thought that my business plans were freaking brilliant. And if they weren't working, it was something other than me. And at the end of the day, it was just my how wasn't there. So go hit goal and your how will show up. You get to look in your rearview mirror and assess what you did. And that is your how. Hope you have a great week. As always, go enjoy, go really reward yourself with getting back on track or staying on track. I appreciate you for being here and we'll see you next week. Thanks. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.